It's been 2 long days of travelling, 1,500 kilometres in total. One stop in Germany overnight at an Airbnb, and 2 days in total. We've made it, and we have officially kind of made ourselves at home instantly in our future apartment, and Lawrence's parents in their future home. So at the moment, I'm currently sat in what would have been, I imagine, the former entranceway or reception for the garage, not the showroom. This is a separate garage. This is a separate part of the building with a different entranceway, which would have been, I think, mainly for people who want to service their cars. As you can see behind me, there is actually quite a nice, it's like a calendar or yeah. So what have we decided to do on our first full day? There is an old freight container around the back of the property which is full of stuff, and we're not entirely sure what is in it. So we know that there will be a lot of stuff probably left over from the garage and maybe the house, but it could also be things that we are able to use to build with. It's quite a big crate. It's much bigger than I remember. And we're not sure how full it is. It could be half full, it could be completely packed, but we're really looking forward to getting in there and having a look. And for our first day, it's quite a nice idea to get stuck in and see what there is. It might even inspire us to start making the work we need to do on this place. And I think, yeah, today we're just going to have a little dig around. So the plan of action now is to take the 110, which is parked outside, with the trailer round to the polytunnel and the container, and see what's inside and start taking everything out and into the polytunnel, and we'll figure it out from there next. Upon request from my Auntie B, I'm going to try and do a bit more talking in this one. So we got down to the container on our first day straight after breakfast, and when it was first opened there was a very strong smell of fumes, so we let it sit for a while. It was so much bigger and longer than we remembered in January when we visited, but the snow made everything appear a bit smaller in that way. The polytunnel has Ford stickering on the outside and actual parking spaces inside, which we think such a space was used maybe as extra storage or as a showroom back in the day, maybe the late 70s. It is surprisingly dry all year round despite the cold and wet months, and it's a great place to store materials in the meantime. As I mentioned earlier, all this stuff was left by the previous owners. However, there is stuff that has probably been here since it was a garage. Once the smell of the fumes had dispersed, we got straight in there, and of course the Land Rovers and the trailer played a big part in the day. And we love this little trailer. It's still getting used every day at the moment. There was a lot of scaffolding at the front, which is going to be really helpful when repainting and restoring the buildings. The floor planks were actually already in the tent when we got there. The dogs also loved their first day outside in the fresh air, in the sun, and watching us get really stuck into removing everything. While the guys were removing more scaffolding from the front of the container, I took it upon myself to lift some stuff to the front and help out a little, and maybe hunt out some furniture and vintage pieces like these old Coke crates. It was not a devised plan whatsoever by myself. There was also an old conveyor belt, I think, which we don't know anything about or if it's even complete, but it looks interesting and maybe part of a wood cutting machine. There's also a lot of boxes full of electrical wire, plumbing and draining pipes and systems, half-used paint tins, and just a lot of building supplies which will be great for getting water back into our buildings and reusing in other ways. In some cases, the boxes were more exciting than the content itself, but mostly everything we were excited or curious to find. And we kept finding cool stuff like the Volvo crate lid, a Stanley tool that looked really old and beautiful quality. Once these two, I want to say delivery trolleys or roll cages were empty, we really felt like it was finally getting more empty than full in the container. Drawing to the end of the day, everyone was getting tired, but our spirits weren't. Of course, we were in Sweden. The last pieces we retrieved from the back were some large plastic containers, all empty, but definitely were storing something. Maybe liquid waste from the garage. It would explain the potent smell building up. However, they were completely empty. And lastly, of course, the pallet jack, another thing I have no doubt will be used often. It's safe to say we'll be kept really busy using all these supplies over the next few months.